The Ebonite PBA Senior Championship is the premier event on the senior tour, now in its 12th year. Earlier this season, Gene Stus became the first PBA senior ever to bowl a perfect game, thrilling our national television audience. Today, he's trying for yet another first to win back-to-back PBA Senior Championships. A victory today would tie him with the legendary Earl Anthony, the only bowler ever to capture this prestigious event twice, doing so in 1988 and again in 90. And it's sure his mention. But speaking of the greats who have captured this title before, like Dick Weber, who's won in every decade he's competed, and Carmen Salvino, the colorful PBA and ABC Hall of Famer. Will Gene Stus succeed? We'll find out next in the 1992 Ebonite PBA Senior Championship. ESPN and the Professional Bowlers Association present the championship round finals of the Ebonite PBA Senior Championship. The bowler who may stand between Gene Stus and a victory this afternoon is Teata Semiz, who 6 times has stood in the PBA's winner's circle on the senior circuit. Welcome, everyone, to Thruway Lanes, located in Cheektowaga, New York. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to the most prestigious event on the PBA Senior Tour, the Ebonite PBA Senior Championship. Earlier this week, one of our finalists, Teata Semiz, referred to this event as perhaps the Masters of Golf, or even perhaps winning the United States Open in tennis. It's certainly a tournament that each and every senior player would love to add to his list of accomplishments somewhere down the line. And, of course, working with me once again, 3-time Firestone champ Mike Durbin. And Mike, not only is there great prestige involved in this event, but the pressure continues to mount each and every year.
Well, the prestige is this is the major title for senior players. And the plum at the end of the stick on this is a berth in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. So that just puts added pressure. Not only is it a major, but you get a major reward if you win the tournament.
Al Sanford, who is qualified number 5, is a player who spent almost 5 seasons on the regular PBA Tour back in the mid-70s without much success, but he has come roaring into the championship finals here this week.
And this is the second time in the last 3 weeks that he's made the top 5. One of those times was a non-televised event. In the 70s, Al, like you say, was kind of a journeyman player. Not a lot of success, but he's kept himself in good physical condition, and he's one of those type of guys that seems to be bowling better at 50 than he did at 35.
You'll certainly enjoy the talents of our number 4 qualifier, Jack Calhoun. Not a name that you've heard regularly across the national tour, but an outstanding player for many, many years down in southern Ohio.
Well, he lived in the Cincinnati area, worked at Western Bowl down there, helped run that center, was the manager, works in a pro shop. He's always been an outstanding bowler in the regional level. He's another guy that turned 50, wanted to give a shot when he turned 50, and he has a lot of talent. There's a lot of guys like Jack Calhoun throughout the country, but Jack's showing it can be done tonight.
Only one player, the great Earl Anthony, has ever captured this tournament twice. Teata Semiz has an outside shot here this afternoon, but it won't be an easy road.
No, he has to win 3 games, but Teata is a marvel. He's 58 years old, in marvelous shape. You know, he's a scratch golfer almost, but he can just compete against everybody. He has an effortless style and just seems to be able to repeat shot after shot after shot. He's going to have to do that for 3 games tonight, though.
All right, let's turn back the clock some 30 years. Our next qualifier is a player that you grew up with, basically, in Southern California, Ron Winger.
Well, Ron, in 1959, was the Southern California Junior Bowler of the Year. In 1961, he was the Southern California Bowler of the Year. Had outstanding promise. The lane conditions back then dictated that you threw it straight, and Ron hooked the ball a lot, so I think conditions hampered him at that time, and he never really developed to his potential. Right now, as a senior, he says it's time for that potential to come out. He's bowled well all year. This is his best showing so far.
Gene Stus stepped up and threw a double last night in the 54th game of this tournament to hold on to the number 1 position. Plenty of pressure last night. If he wins today, Mike, is he a shoo-in for Player of the Year?
Well, you don't want to say he's a shoo-in, but in my mind, he certainly would be. He'd be over $57,000 in earning with 2 titles and a major and a second trip in a row to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He's having a magical year. Everything's going right for Gene Stus last night when he threw that double. The 7-pin was standing on the first shot. All of a sudden, it fell over. He took advantage of that. That's been the kind of year that Gene Stus has had.
A big check on hand for our winner. $20,000 goes to the player that ends up in the winner's circle here this evening. We're ready to start match number 1, featuring Al Sanford and also Jack Calhoun. So it's a pair of Buckeyes, Mike Durbin, in the opening match. One from Jackson, Ohio, the other from Cincinnati.
Well, the bragging rights for the state of Ohio, huh, Dan?
Calhoun will open up on the left-hand lane. Championship round pair here at Thruway Lanes, 47 and 48. And about as good a start as you could hope for.
And Jack just has a marvelous hand release. Thumb comes out so clean, the fingers go right around the side of the ball. It almost looks like he comes over the top of the ball a little bit, but he's really getting a good reaction at the back end of the lane.
Al Sanford with 5 cashes and 6 PBA senior events. First time ever in the championship round in terms of a nationally televised show. And he opens up with a beautiful shot, this time on the right-hand lane.
Al, a very controlled style that he has. A 5-step player. We'll watch him here. He holds the ball right about at the waist. He's going to step with the left foot. Now, very slow, deliberate approach. Actually, he hasn't pushed it till now, so the timing's slightly late. Hits the 3rd step, and the ball's at the peak of the backswing right there. It's in time. Nice slide right through. And you see the control all the way through. Moderate hook, very accurate.
For the double, and that one's right through the nose. Unfortunate just to leave the 3 and the 6.
See, the problem with that style, at least always in my opinion, is that you're matching the arm swing to the foot speed. And, some days you can do it really fine. But it's muscle all the way through. There's no freedom in that swing at all. So some days you'll have it, and some days it'll be lost.
Interesting you mentioned that, because in talking to Teata Semiz just prior to the championship round, he said that Dave Davis has been working with him over the past couple of weeks to take all the muscle out of his swing to get back to the point where it's let the momentum of the bowling ball take it back and kind of bring it back down, start it through. Don't grab onto the bowling ball.
Yeah. Well, you go to what your strengths are. If you're naturally strong, sometimes that's your tendency to muscle the shot.
And Jim Godman used that pretty well for a few years.
Oh,
yeah. Pretty good shot. 4-pin stands up.
Jack takes very little time, using a separate ball to shoot his spares. Something that goes a little bit straighter so he can go right at it. Has to hurry. Oh. Just a careless mistake. You know there's more oil in the center of the lane, but he grabbed the ball to go straighter and didn't go straight at the spare. He threw it right down, about the 3rd arrow. There's a lot of oil left of that 3rd arrow. He's just slightly right of it. It never bites the lane, never turns over or flips like they say. He really didn't come close, and he missed that thing by 6 inches or more.
So the first error, mental mistake, goes to Calhoun. Tries to come back and yanks a shot on 47 and leaves the 3-6-10.
And what happens when you miss a spare like that, Dan, is concentration is broken. Suddenly, your composure is damaged. I just missed a single-pin spare on national television, and you're not focused on what you're trying to do. Now he needs to regroup and make this 3-6-10.
Cross lane, it has to hurry, and Calhoun with back-to-back missed spare attempts really has put himself in a difficult position.
And his inexperience on television shows right there. Al Sanford now, is gaining experience moment by moment, but he needs to take advantage of those 2 mistakes by Calhoun.
Sanford with an early 23-pin lead, courtesy of a couple of missed spare attempts. That'll loosen up your arm swing. Sends it wide and has a little problem or a near problem on 48.
Well, the 2 and the 5, he did get that 8-pin to fall out there. Makes the spare easier, although it fell in between, hit both pins, and knocked them slightly off spot, so it makes it easier to chop.
Is he thinking about what Calhoun just did?
No, I think he's just thinking about his own game and trying to convert the spare. He's moving left to try and cut down on the possibility of a chop where there's a little more oil. And he switched balls. Well,
you could see him not wanting to go right with that shot. That's what I guess, what the question I was posing is, do you think he was aware of the amount of oil on the right-hand lane in the center?
Yeah, he was definitely aware. What do you mean when Calhoun missed his spare on the right? Yeah.
Oh, too many dashes already in this opening match.
Looks like Morris Code or something there.
Calhoun is on the bench, and he realizes he's back in the match, down by just 10. A couple of players trying to get rid of the nerves here. And Sanford bounces back with a beauty on lane 47. Earlier this year, Jack's best finish, 13th at the Pacific Cal Bowl Open.
He's had a 300 earlier this summer.
Watched him last night in the position round and in match play, and you could see he was thoroughly enjoying the experience of competing against some of the great stars of all time.
And he's enjoying this, too. He just needs to, like you say, get rid of those butterflies, the nerves, and settle down and let his talent come out. You see, he's kind of crouched over here, holds the ball low, doesn't move it now, sends it out. See how much freer his arm swing is than Sanford's. From the shoulder, there it is at the peak, right there at the top of the backswing, driving through, no slide. You see that? No slide.
Heel-toe finish.
That's hard on the knees.
Oh, he liked it when it left. 9-pin was there for a moment, but he finally got some help.
Well, a nice smile comes to his face, and we've got an even match.
So a double for Calhoun in the 4th and the 5th.
And watch this thing just drive through like a hot knife right through butter. And misses that 9-pin. The head pin comes off the side and says, tip over.
It was too good a shot not to strike. Meanwhile, Sanford trying to come back and match. A little more direct route, and he leaves a soft 10.
And you could see his fight to get out of that ball and not get the good lift on it that he wanted. On line, but just not the roll.
All 5 of our finalists combined for an average of about 226 on this pair of lanes throughout the week. Gene Stus averaged better than 250.
Yeah, and he's not going to be nervous.
So probably not. Although, in chatting with him, he wants to win this title desperately. Back-to-back, he says no one's ever done it. I'd like to be the first. Little extra time for Al Sanford. Match is even. He'd like to strike here in the 6th.
Well, you have to put behind you those mistakes and say this is a 5-frame match right now, and I'm still in it.
Good speed. Very
good
confident.
roll.
Yeah, very confident shot for Al Sanford. So we'll take a break here. And when we go, Gene Stus will talk about winning last year's PBA Seniors title.
Well, personally, it was one of my biggest thrills last year because it gave me a chance to go to the Firestone, and I mean, not too many guys get to go there, and I was just thrilled to death. It was a class tournament. And professionally, it gave me a foot in the door to be one of the better bowlers out here, I think. They showed that I could perform against the best out here.
Jim, give me a Bud Light.
We're all out.
When it comes to clean, fresh taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, Bud Light delivers.
You want good service? And RESPECT? Well, Mickey D's is the place. We guarantee we'll serve you ASAP and without an attitude. And at the drive-thru, we'll double-check your order so you won't have to. We'll treat you like a VIP because we want you to be satisfied. But if something's wrong with our service, we'll make it right. Or your next meal's on us. Hot, fast, friendly, and double-check. That's what you want. That's what you get. Guaranteed.
The championship round finals of the Ebonite PBA Senior Championship are being brought to you by Ebonite International, where advanced technology has striking results. By Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, home of America's favorite pan pizza. Back to live action. While we were away, a couple of 9 spares for Jack Calhoun, and now Sanford barely gets to the pocket on 48.
He got 9 also, but he didn't throw nearly as good a shots as Calhoun did. Jack left a solid 10 in the 6th frame and a weak 10 in the 7th frame. Sanford converts the 5-pin. He's still going to be leading by 2 pins, but his bugaboo has been this right lane. No strikes on it yet.
Take an advantage of shooting the 5 there, do you think? Making an adjustment on the strike shot?
No, a little wry smile. He let it go further right than he wanted to, but it hooked back. And the thing is with the right lane, Dan, is it's tighter than the left lane. So that's, Al knows that in his mind, and he's subconsciously trying to fit it in there rather than just let it go.
Well, can he move right?
He probably already has, Dan. But it's still a matter of executing the shot properly and with confidence to get the proper finger lift, rotation on the ball that's going to carry. Rather than making that span another half-inch shorter.
Another light hit to 8 stands on lane 47, and Pat a little tentative right now, looking on.
Mother of 7 children, 2 of them here. And Al needs to make this spare to keep the match even. To hurry, and it does.
Little extra time on that spare attempt. And there are some of the Sanford clan, a couple of the 7 on hand.
Well, for 2 very inexperienced guys, it's going to come down to who can perform in the 9th and 10th frames.
Calhoun needs a little fall back, and he gets it. Boy, that ball hung right there in the pocket.
Well, he's playing that, Dan. He's playing in the oil, trying to send it a little wide like that. But if he does get it left and comes out of it clean, it holds pocket for him, as we're going to see right here. Just right of the 3rd arrow. Very little break. Very little break on that. In fact, it went down at the 16th board, out to the 11th. It did break 4 boards.
Key shot of the week here, though. This would be a double in the 9th and a 10-pin lead.
There we see the break. And the ball speed.
Well, he got a handful. He liked it, and that was a key double under plenty of pressure here in game number 1.
And he's fought back from those 2 opening misses in the 2nd and 3rd frame. Right on track now. 10-pin lead. He's put the heat right back on Mr. Sanford.
Sanford strikes out. He can shoot 205. Calhoun has room for 215.
But this is kind of a tit-for-tat situation right now, Dan. Calhoun's put the pressure on Sanford. It's up to Al to answer the challenge.
On his tough lane, tightened up the line. Does he get some help? Yes, he does. The 5 and the 7 went down together.
And in that shot, the arm swing seemed freer to me and less tentative, and he went right through the shot. Now he's looking at the score, trying to figure it out. Rich Weber is showing him the score. And again, it's not Rich's job to tell him what the score is. It's his job simply to show it, and Al figures it out, and he sees he's 10 pins down. If he strikes right here, it's an even match. We could have a tie.
Trying to double.
His best shot.
You said, would he answer back? It's obviously a big yes.
A big yes. And he's got to realize it's a 10th frame, guys.
Better get the glasses out. Sanford.
Get Jack sitting down.
Yeah, that's Jack on the back. Says, hold on, Jackson. You got a shot here in a couple of minutes. Let me finish the 10th frame. First ever time to get to the championship round, and the bowling is tough enough, but the pressure is always that much more.
Well, you can see they're really into it. They don't know what frame they're in, so.
Just throwing strikes, right? Just let me throw strikes.
This is for the lead. Oh, what a nice break. Thumb went down a little bit on that, a little left of target. Held pocket to trip the 4-pin.
And he also stood up on the shot. What else didn't he do?
Well, he struck. I mean, you can do all these things. Remember Weber over all the years.
Oh.
As 2 goes to the sideboard and chips that 4 out.
One more, and it's a game of 205, and then it's
up
back
to Mr.
Jack Calhoun.
Now, the count is important here. count is very important. If he doesn't strike, you know, Calhoun might need only one in the 10th, depending on what Al does here. Better speed.
And you're exactly right. 204. Nice performance. Nice comeback performance by Al Sanford.
And what it boils down to is that Jack Calhoun needs 2 strikes to win the match. He needs the first one 9 and a spare, and we got a tie. Very little time. And he picked the finish on this lane, though. Clean release. Oh, is it going to fall? No.
Ball shot, the 5-pin wiggles, and Calhoun will have to finish 5th, and Sanford will move on.
Well, he got out of it clean. He trusted it. You know, the light hit. The ball was just skidding a little bit too much in the oil. Didn't make the sharp finish at the back end.
A valiant effort by Jack Calhoun, who raises the eyebrows. And Al Sanford is the winner. And as we leave, Teata Semiz will reminisce about when he won the PBA senior title.
Well, Denny, 1987 was a great year for me. I beat Darryl Curtis for the title with a mark in the 10th frame. And you also know that the senior championship is the most prestigious tournament we have on our tour. Everybody wants to win this one.
Get a free bowling ball. Clearview Lanes wants you to have a free ball this fall. Sign up for a 92-93 fall league, and Clearview Lanes will give you a new ball free. And all current league bowlers who bring a new bowler for a fall league will receive a $20 gift certificate. New bowlers must not have bowled at Clearview in the past year. For more information, contact Clearview Lanes, 1990 West Main Street, Mount Joy, at 653-1818. 653-1818. Clearview Lanes, we're giving away free balls for fall.
This election year, the Iowa caucus was held in North Dakota, Jenny's Cafe. The California primary was held on a farm in New Jersey. And Bud Monroe hosted the Democratic National Convention at his barbershop. Wherever you live, your local cable companies bring in the most extensive election coverage in history to your town. So you'll be better prepared to vote for the next president, who will be sworn in January 20th at the home of Charles and Nellie Sparks.
Maybe you ought to make one of them cream pies, Nellie.
Average Builders is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, home of America's favorite pan pizza.
For this week's Average Builder, I thought I'd like to talk about targeting, or better known, spot bowling. And the question arises, is there one particular spot or target that's best for you and best for me? Is there one that we should always aim at? Well, there's a lot of different opinions. Many years ago, people aimed at the pins, and they did quite well. Then the manufacturers came along and helped us out. They put some marks on the lanes that we could aim at. They put some dots that are 5 or 6 feet out on the lane, and they put some arrows that are about 15 feet out on the lane. 7 arrows, in fact. They're known as the rangefinder or the dovetail of arrows. And most bowlers, including myself, the vast majority, use those arrows. But not everybody uses those arrows. We have a couple of guests on our Average Builder tonight that don't use the arrows, and we're going to talk to them about what they do use and why. Our first guest is from Cincinnati, Ohio. We saw him in the opening match. His name is Jack Calhoun. Jack, welcome to ESPN. Jack, tell us what you use to target at and why.
Mike, I use the dots that are 6 feet across the foul line. Due to my short size, I feel like I get a better lift on the ball. I do sometimes look a little further than that to get the ball to go longer when the lanes are hooking, but mainly the dots 6 feet past the foul line.
Okay, there's a man using the dots that are about 5 or 6 feet out of the lane. Now, our next guest is well known to anybody who's watched pro bowlers on ESPN. Many weeks ago, we saw him become only the 6th bowler in PBA history to bowl 300 on national television, and he won $100,000 for that. Welcome, Gene Stus. Hi, Gene. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Gene, you don't use the arrows out there. You don't use the dots like Jack does. Tell us what you do use and why.
Mike, I use dots at the fall line. I feel that it's, like you said, it's easier to hit something closer to you than away from you. So I use the dots and the boards at the fall line. I also, if I want to get the ball down further down the lane, then I'll look at the second set of dots 6 feet out.
But that's it. That's as far as you look.
That's as far as I look.
Okay, there you have it. 3 different targets from 3 different senior bowlers. But remember, if you use the arrows or you use the dots that are 5 or 6 feet out there or the dots at the foul line, remember this one simple little rule, that you always look, but you never aim. We'll see you again in the fall when ESPN will have the fall tour, and we'll have a whole new set of average builders. And if you have trouble in the meantime, don't forget your local PBA pro.
And let's now take a look at the rest of the top 24. Larry Gilder was 6th, and Roger Workman finished 7th.
Some new names there, Denny. Wes Campbell, the Texas Twister, and, of course, our Steady John handy guard.
In the number 10 position, Bill Johnson had the only 300 this week, and then Don Gilman.
And John Hersinum, Frankie May making his presence known on the senior tour.
Elsewhere in the top 24, Don Gates. It was his wedding anniversary, and he made it to the top 24.
Dick Baker, the only lefty in the top 24. Don Johnson, former Hall of Famer, and Bill Stemke from Mission Hills, California.
18th, Nelson Burton Jr., Hall of Famer. Nellie was in the finals this week, and, of course, Jerry Hill was 19th.
And Bob Serpy played right off the edge for a while, and Sam Lavelle making a return to the tour.
22nd, Bob Hart. He led this tournament for a while, and Bob Graham was 23rd.
2 in a row for Graham there. And Billy Walden, who won this event a few years back, and Stan McDonald was our alternate.
All right, when we come back, a man who has as many victories as anybody out here on the senior tour, Teata Semiz. He has 6. He'll take on Al Sanford, who is looking for his very first professional victory.
And that was dinner for our favorite food critic?
Everything was wonderful.
Something else to drink, monsieur?
Yes. Make it a Bud Light, please.
I'm sorry, monsieur. We have run out.
Really? Well, that does change things a bit, doesn't it?
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Billy's Chili. Quaint atmosphere.
Is that a tip, or did you just lose some change?
Charming service. When a muffler goes, some people look for a cheap replacement. They think it costs less. Fact is, they can get a quality Midas muffler starting at $24.95. Fact is, a guaranteed economizer muffler starting at $24.95. Fact is, installed by experts starting at $24.95. So when somebody says they have a cheaper muffler than Midas, they're right. When they say they're better, fact is, they're wrong. Don't believe anybody ever beats Midas.
Rise and shine this weekend to ESPN Sunday Sports Day. See the bright spots of the week on Sports Weekly. Then, Dick Schaap focuses a light on major issues with the Sports Reporter. And don't forget ESPN's Shining Star, Sports Center, where you'll see scores, highlights, and previews. Set your alarm to start Sunday mornings with ESPN Sunday Sports Day.
Welcome back to Cheektowaga, New York. Just outside of Buffalo, or is it in Buffalo?
I think it's just outside of Buffalo.
Wonderful town, great bowling area. Of course, the home of Tom Baker, one of the all-time great PBA players. Al Sanford, after surviving game number 1, tosses it right through the nose to open up his match against Teata Semiz.
Again, I think, that's just a letdown. The concentration level was up in the 10th frame, and he made great shots. That was kind of a lackadaisical shot right there. Got a good break and an easy spare, and he makes it.
Looks down at his hand. He either needs a piece of tape or he better keep it on the old fan, huh? Looks like he might have lost the grip on that shot.
Well, like you say, Teata trying for a freer swing. Pushing it out and letting it swing free.
Drops it in the slot. And wants to shake him to start, and the 7-pin stands.
Had a nice opening shot. It was a nice reaction. The ball finished back. Could have carried.
Teata had a chance to lead this tournament in game number 54 last night with a double in the 10th.
he'd have been the top seed. Well, any of the top three could have been the top seed. It was really an exciting finish. They all wound up within 6 pins of one another, and Teata missed out second place by one little stick.
Hard and straight cross lane at the 7 pin. So Teata opens up with a spare. 6 senior victories to his credit. 5 PBA regional titles, 3 PBA national titles. And you said it best. Truly a wonder at 58 years of age. He is competitive, it seems, each and every week out here.
Yeah, he is. But like I say, you know, he's trim. You know, he takes care of himself.
Has great heart. He is a competitor first and foremost, and slides by the head pin 245 with the 7. You made an interesting comment, Mike, during the commercial when you said you felt this pair of lanes might be a little too tight for Teata.
Well, it was some of the practice balls, and the ball wasn't going into a heavy roll. The left lane hooks more. Now, I don't know whether he moved a couple of boards off the right lane left and tried to belly it. We can see right here he's going from 9 to 6.5. That's just too much belly. He's not going to get it back from out that far. Tough spare now. On the left, got it.
Beautiful conversion for Teata Semiz, who breathes a sigh of relief.
Sanford, who has much softer speed, can get the ball to finish back. But not as much as Calhoun. Actually, I think Calhoun had a better shot than either one of these guys, and he's gone.
Well, that's got to be left to the head pin all the way. Another big-time break. Baby split broken up, and the 3-pin remains.
And again, when the lanes are tight, it's hard to make yourself say, I'm going to go ahead and trust it. The tendency is the thumb goes down early, the arm swing bounces out a little bit, and it's just headed high from the top of the backswing.
I guess my question is why wouldn't you take everything and go right and angle it up at the pocket as opposed to almost praying it directly down the lane? I mean, there's very little opportunity to belly the ball.
Because that's not his game, then. His game is not moving right and throwing hard up at the pocket. That would be a Nelson Burton Jr.'s game.
All right.
That's his style. But we see right here, you know, he's only bellied that ball a board and a half. He's got to give it more room than that. I mean, starting it at 13.5 is fine. He's got to get it out to at least board 11, board 10.5.
Plus, he's been very fortunate. He's gone through the nose a couple times and come away with 9-pin spares.
Nine and a spare.
3-pin lead for Sanford. Ron Winger is next in line. Our top seed, Gene Stus, trying to make it 2 in a row. All right, now there's a perfect shot. My point being, if he throws it perfect on the left-hand lane and breaks a little more, he's okay, but there's not much of a margin for error.
Well, there wouldn't be the other way. That's his game, though. Get in against the oil a little bit, give it just a little bit of room with a nice, clean shot. That's his game.
See if Teata is able to make an adjustment here. Looked like he gave it more room on the right-hand lane. Once again, comes up short, and the 2-8 is left.
Well, he did, but he didn't intend to give it that much room. But Teata is doing basically what you think that Sanford should do. I mean, he's moved right, trying to go up, but he's bellying it right of the second arrow a little bit. Needs to go a little bit more direct.
Ooh, just barely hung on, and Teata also talked about maybe winning PBA title number 7 here in the senior circuit.
Yeah, John Hannigod's got 6, Weber's got 6, and boy, I would love to move past Weber with one more.
See, he doesn't even worry about Handigard because he knows Handigard's going to get him sooner or later, but he wants to stay ahead of Weber.
Oh, he and Weber through the years have dueled. I think there are more verbal jabs than they are bowling jabs. Nice adjustment this time, the half 10, so he's creeping up on the pocket.
Creeping up on the pocket, yeah. Well, it's pretty much of a solid 10-10. All right. It was a good shot.
Now in his mind, he's made the adjustments, though. He knows basically where he needs to play.
And again, we see him bellying it. He moved right. He's going from 7 to 5, I'll tell you.
Hey, if it's not hooking, sooner or later, you better start heading right or heading to the paddock to grab something that will. Huh?
Well, either that or you tighten it up, you know. If you can move right, Dan, if moving right means that it will hook back. But if that board out there, 5 and 6, is just as wet, it doesn't do any good to move right.
I know one thing. I'd rather be going at the 1-3 with an angle from the right as opposed to throwing it right straight at it. I mean, you could throw the Weber wall shot all night long. Of course, then you can also leave the 5-7 all night long, too.
That's true.
Sanford a little softer. Boy, he is not going to give it any room on lane 48. He's just frightened of that lane. If he throws it right, he thinks it's not coming back.
It's all mental. He wouldn't do it in the last game until his back was to the wall. If he didn't do it, he was lost. And right now, he's not in that position. He's still leading, but tenuously. And again, 15 to board 12 and a half. I mean, it looked worse than that. It looked like he pulled it worse than that.
Both players right now immersed in a bit of a grind out, just trying to fill frames and stay within shouting distance. Lane 47 is obviously the better lane because it does hook a little more.
Well, it's just two different angles of attack. Al would rather move in a little bit where he thinks he can find an oil line and ride that line to the pocket. Teata's moving out where he thinks it's a little drier, is going to hook back.
Little quick speed, and guess what? Wash out.
You know, what could be happening, too, is that oil carrying down the lane, that as soon as you give it any room to the right, in where Al's at, it's not going to make it back. Not without more fingers. After about 11th or 12th, he got it out further than that. He got it right of the second arrow down the lane at 45 feet. Yeah, out to the 8th board at 45 feet. Way too wide for him.
Trying to cross it over. Gave it a run, but the first open frame here in match number 2. So Sanford will have to think about a comeback. Meanwhile, Teata up quickly on the right-hand lane.
Teata, a veteran of match game playing. Only 10 pins up, and a couple strikes here puts him in 20-pin range.
A little more finger action, and the adjustment has been made. You see him hang on to that shot?
Yep. Again, though, he's trying for the free swing, the good knee bend at the next to last step. About at the 5th or 6th board and wider at 40 feet. That ball got right at 5 at 45 feet.
Tell you what, the ball, did you see his thumb come out and the ball was on his fingers forever, that shot. Again, he gets a handful and a clutch double for Teata Semiz. And we also had a chance to talk to one of our other past champions, Glenn Allison, and he compared shooting 900 with winning the National.
Well, I remember 1986 when I won the championship. I defeated Buzz Oswald by 1 pin, a very, very exciting match. However, I believe the 900 series has had a much, much bigger impact on my career.
Why do so many men stick with Bic? I'm a Bic man. Because there's a Bic for every beard. Bic Regular, a great shave at a great price. I'm a Bic man. Bic Sensitive, Bic Baby, Tender Skin, Bic Metal, Slim Head, Total Control. Yeah, I'm a Bic man. I'm a Bic man. Regular, Sensitive, Metal. I'm a Bic man.
What makes Hardee's biscuits different from everyone else's?
We do our biscuits from scratch.
Bakers.
This is a scratch buttermilk biscuit. They're baked minutes before you order it. I like to do it gently. You get a nice, smooth cut. We do this so they all come out perfect. Perfect biscuits. And then it's so good.
Rise and shine made from scratch biscuits and biscuit bakers. Only Hardee's.
All right, don't forget later on tonight, Checkered Flag kicks things off at 6 o'clock, and then we've got a live performance of Speed Week from Bristol, Tennessee, Sports Center. And, of course, we've got an update on David Cohn, who debuts tonight. Hopefully the Blue Jays will do a little better than they did last night when they gave up 22 runs. And, of course, live NASCAR, the Bud 500 from Bristol, Tennessee, a little bit later on.
And, you know, Glenn Allison, who was talking about his 900 series, you know, has been working in the truck for us all year long. We wanted to thank him. And this week, he won the cool shootout, or the skins game, for $12,500.
When the money is on the line, Mr. Allison's attention span usually grows a bit short. Sanford back with a strike after the break. He needed it desperately. He trails by 20, could cut that lead in half.
Now he's got to make 2 good shots in a row. By the way, that pool of money was $15,000. Glenn won most of it.
The wily veteran. I wonder why he had such a smile on his face earlier this afternoon. He won on the golf course this morning as well.
Well, no, Mr. Weber got him this morning.
He did?
Yeah.
Not Dick.
No, his son.
Rich.
Yes.
He's too young to beat up on the seniors, isn't he?
He played very well today.
Uh-huh. After the re-rack in the 7th, Sanford looking for a double and climb back into the match. Don't look back, Al. They might be gaining. That might be, the worst strike we've seen this year.
Skinny Brooklyn, runaway Brooklyn. I can remember in pot games years and years ago, I used to rely on that hit.
Especially when the pressure was on.
Yeah, right.
Now, what does that do to Teata Semiz?
It depends whether he's watching it or what. I mean, it can't help but affect you if you're watching it.
Oh, playing way outside, swings it back. Semiz with 3 in a row, and Teata looks like a man on a mission.
Got it back. I didn't think that ball would get back. Out around the 5th board, swinging it to about 3. The light hit, the headpin goes to the sideboard. 4, 5, and 7 disappear. And we see at 30 feet, it was at 3. That's exactly right. 3.5 board belly there.
Back to the better lane. Looking for a 30-pin lead, and that one rolls up nicely. Teata has come to life mid-range here in match number 2.
And that was an interesting shot because that ball held pocket all the way. I kept waiting for that to snap at the end, but he had great speed. The 7 and the 9 were the last ones down.
I think he said carry, didn't he?
Something like that.
Yeah.
In Italian.
Sanford with a heat on. Looked like a pretty good shot on 48, playing the tight angle, and now he's left with a 4-9.
Well, Al's just run into somebody very, very aggressive right now, and Al's just bowling tentative. He's not sure what to do on the lanes and doesn't have a great ball reaction and not much experience and a lot of things going against him right now.
To the spare ball. Nothing happening there. A reason to be proud of her husband here this afternoon. Just to get to the final 5 in this championship is an accomplishment. And, of course, he beat Jack Calhoun in the opening match, but he's run into Teata Semiz here in game number 2.
Well, he had to be the underdog going into this match. Man. I mean, Teata's just got a wealth of experience.
Almost looked like he moved left with his feet on that lane there, didn't it?
He may have done. He just executed the shot the way he wants to. It's pressure causing these different shots. And pressure, and the fact that in his mind, he's aiming at a half a board. And whenever you got that in your mind, I've only got that much to aim at, it's hard to make the good shot.
It's a half a board easier to hit at 5 feet at the dots?
That's a good point. At the foul line.
Yeah, it's never easy. Teata Semiz trying to pour it on, and Teata's probably saying to himself, now wait a minute, don't carry them all now. Let's save a couple of those hits for
I think Teata wants to get as many as he can and intimidate Ron Winger coming on and set himself up for a SS match of Stus and Semiz.
Teata with plenty of room for 253, which would be a gigantic score on this pair of lanes.
Well, you know, the good scores on it all week long. It just suddenly, inexperience hurts people. When you haven't been on television before, you're not exactly sure what to expect.
Teata Semiz in his senior career, 19 times to the championship round. Oh, look at that ball come off his fingertips, and the 6-pin whistles around the chain.
Did you see that pretty follow-through on that shot? Nice and loose and relaxed. That's what he's looking for, is that nice free swing and that heavy lift at the bottom of the swing. Davis been helping Sutar, now helping Semiz.
I wonder if he's getting a piece of the action. David's still on hand, and Dave Davis still looking to win his first PBA Seniors event. He's had a couple of chances.
He's bowled well, too.
Oh, he sure has. Well, that was plenty loose, but it didn't make any difference one way or another, although Teata did not want to end it on that kind of a note.
And carom shots don't count in the PBA, so it's not a one rail here.
For Teata, a game of 220, a solid performance as he'll prepare for the semifinal game. Meanwhile, Al Sanford will collect his biggest PBA check ever, $5,500.
And he had a nice one a couple of weeks ago in Jackson, Michigan. Oh, now he moves out there. Look at this.
Well, that was my point all along. You need to move right, and of course, Mike Connor's probably saying the same thing right now. If he would have been out there, he would have moved right.
You think so?
Maybe not. So easy to see from up here. But isn't that a basic premise, Mike? If the ball's not hooking, you got to move. You got to give yourself some kind of an angle to the pocket. I mean, you can't stand there and try and hit a board with no board to belly, right? See, look at this. Look at the reaction.
Well, you had an hour to practice on the lanes ahead of time, Denny. You would have thought he would have tried out there some.
Yeah, but you know what that means? That means, hey, I've got an A shot.
And
I need to practice a B shot. You taught me that. You say I always had an alternate plan in case they broke down or in case it didn't work.
Yeah. Well,
in this case, the B became the A and the A became the B.
If it had been me, definitely I would have been. That was my game.
Oh, you'd have been throwing rockets from the right. I know what you would have done. All right, a nice finish for Al Sanford. And speaking of nice finishes, Billy Walden had a brilliant finish at the Hall of Fame Lanes in Canton when he won this tournament a few years ago.
I won this tournament in 1985, and it was one of the highlights of my career. And it was a big win for me, and the way I won it was really nice. I bowled Bob Kowalik in the final match, and I had to strike in the 10th frame to win the tournament, and that made it a little sweeter.
Hey, Hannon, lunch.
Hey, all right.
No. I mean, see what everybody wants.
2 cheeseburgers and quarter pounder with cheese. Large fries? Bring back. Make it 2.
Got it, kid.
With McDonald's Extra Value Meals, you can order your favorite food by number. Served up fast, guaranteed. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Hannon, nice job. It's yours from now on.
Start a project with Minwax Wood Finish and turn new into treasured, ordinary into extraordinary, even pine into cherry. Because Minwax Wood Finish makes it easy to turn any project into a beautiful masterpiece. Minwax makes wood beautiful.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change for the better? Refreshingly different, but dry.
Larry Bird was born to be a champion. He was destined for glory in the game he loved. Call this toll-free number now and get bird watching at its best in this amazing video, Larry Bird, a basketball legend. It's free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, the best way to capture all the drama of sports. Through rare footage, you'll follow Larry from the basketball courts of Indiana to the hallowed halls of Boston Garden. Be there when the championships are won. Share the glory, live the moments. Be there for the hard-fought and emotional duels with Larry's longtime friend and rival, Magic Johnson. Call now to subscribe or renew. Get your free video and 30 issues of SI, including the swimsuit issue, for only $1.49 an issue. Save 50% off the cover price. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. Don't miss this heartwarming tale of a boy who lived his dreams. It's the story of a legend. The legend lives in Sports Illustrated. Call now.
Speed Week is live this Saturday from Bristol International Raceway, site of NASCAR's Bud 500. We'll preview Sunday's IndyCar race from Vancouver. Speed Week live this Saturday night at 6:30. You've got the need for Speed Week.
Teata Semiz with a timely 5-bagger from the 5th through the 9th, capped a 220-199 victory over Al Sanford. And standing by, the man of the hour with our Mike Durbin, is our top seed, Gene Stus.
Thank you, Denny, and you are the man of the hour, Gene. What a year you've had so far this year. $100,000 earlier in the year. You've won once already, a couple of seconds. You got a chance to repeat here. What are your thoughts about this magical year you've had?
I really don't know, Mike. I can't believe this is all happening to me. I came out and I've worked harder this year at my game, and I lost some weight and I exercised. I was in better shape than I was last year. Maybe that was it. Bowling-wise, I don't think I'm throwing the ball any better, but I'm scoring better.
How much weight did you lose?
I lost about 30 pounds.
Wow, that's really sad. How'd you do that?
Just watching what I ate and exercising more, doing a lot of walking and riding the bike.
Okay, let's talk about Senior Player of the Year. Last year, you were in a dogfight all year long with John Handegard. He edged you out at the last tournament of the year. This year, I think if you win tonight, don't you think you got to be in the catbird seat to have the upper hand for Senior Player of the Year?
Well, I might have the edge on John, but don't ever count John out. Every time you turn around, he's right behind you. And he had a bad, not a real bad tournament, but he struggled a little bit this week, but he'll be back. I mark my word on it. He's too good of a player.
Okay, let's talk about this tournament. If you win, it's another berth 2 years in a row in the Firestone Tournament Champions. Winning here back-to-back times, how important is that to you?
Oh, very important. It's never been done one back-to-back. Plus, it'll give me another chance at the Firestone. I just missed the cut in the Firestone by about 20 pins last year. And this year, I won't be as nervous. I hope to do better.
Well, you did pretty well last year. Any game plan that you've got for going out there? You going to finish first or what?
I plan on it. I think I got a great shot out there. And if I execute, make good shots, I have no doubt in my mind I'll win.
Good luck, Gene. Well, he's the picture of confidence. But so is Teata Semiz. He's going to take on the former Southern California Bowler of the Year, Ron Winger. We'll be right back after this.
Get a free bowling ball. Clearview Lanes wants you to have a free ball this fall. Sign up for a 92-93 fall league, and Clearview Lanes will give you a new ball free. And all current league bowlers who bring a new bowler for a fall league will receive a $20 gift certificate. New bowlers must not have bowled at Clearview in the past year. For more information, contact Clearview Lanes, 1990 West Main Street, Mount Joy, at 653-1818. 653-1818. Clearview Lanes, we're giving away free balls for fall.
This election year, the Iowa caucus was held in North Dakota, Jenny's Cafe. The California primary was held on a farm in New Jersey. And Bud Monroe hosted the Democratic National Convention at his barbershop. Wherever you live, your local cable company is bringing the most extensive election coverage in history to your town. So you'll be better prepared to vote for the next president, who will be sworn in January 20th at the home of Charles and Nellie Sparks.
Maybe you ought to make one of them cream pies, Nellie.
It's the closest points battle in NASCAR history as drivers head into the world's fastest half-mile track. They'll be fender bending under the lights at the Bud 500, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Teata Semiz, fresh from a 220-199 victory over Al Sanford, will start the semifinal game, and Teata will do so in the left-hand lane.
Be interesting to see what Winger does, because he was playing in where Sanford and Calhoun were.
Well, if he had an opportunity to watch, I hope he moves his feet and his target to the right. Teata's still outside. Opens with the worst break of the week, the pocket 7-10. Where has that been?
One of the things you run into with those wide sweeping outside angles, Dan.
I knew you were going to say that. He opens with a strike you'd have never mentioned.
Never a word.
We haven't even seen a hint of a 7-10.
No, we haven't. And really, there haven't been that many all week long because the lanes are not finishing that hard at the back end.
Well, I watched the final 8 games of match play last night and didn't see one.
Well, let's see where Winger plays him.
His ball speed will be considerably more than both Sanford or Calhoun.
Right. But not a whole lot more than Teata. 6 steps. He likes it because it gives him kind of more time to throw the ball. It makes him a little starter step that way, gives him a little more comfortable feel. Bang!
Oh, I know one thing. That's Sandpaper City. He's playing in the same vicinity, and that ball hooked back with no problem.
Sandpaper City?
Well, something happened to that bowling ball. I mean, that ball never thought about staying right. Well, it was chomping at the bit to head back to the pocket.
It's the same ball that he used in practice, then.
Probably the only ball he used in practice.
Well, it could be. He's been using this ball all week long. He's had great success with it. 2-piece ball with probably leverage weight in it.
And right now, trying to jump with both feet on Teata Semiz if he doubles.
That's nerves. I mean, that's just, he knew where to throw it. Didn't want to trust it. It's the old adage, give it room, not too much.
He has something that I guess you could refer to as staccato-like steps.
Yeah. Chugs up there like a little machine gun. He was always a 5-step player. He went to 6 a couple of years ago. Just made him feel better.
Doesn't use much of the approach either.
No, he's just barely behind that 12-foot line to take 6 steps.
Teata Semiz trying to get back on track after the pocket 7-10 in the first.
Look at that follow through. Oh, you can't throw a bowling ball any better than that one. Did you see that follow through?
Maybe he was turning over, wasn't it?
Oh, man. Now watch. He's trying to keep the head and shoulders up as he pushes out and lets it swing. Now let's watch at the top of the swing. There's the step. Boy, that backswing's up there. Now watch the follow through. Watch it come through. See that thrust? Oh, that's pretty. Oh, is that pretty?
Gorgeous shot by Teata. Now he's trying to back it up with another one here on the left-hand lane.
Boy, he still likes the left lane. He's going to strike.
He said, no, I don't think I'll come in light this time and leave that 7-10. I'll just head up to somewhere near flush and strike that way.
Hey, Ronnie better get his striking shoes on because Teata is wired. No time to be nervous here. I mean, you got to. That's got to go out the window.
Right.
I can't do that. I got to strike.
Be nervous later.
Yeah.
Strike now. Worry later. A little smoother action, straight up with the follow-through, and a dandy of a shot for Winger, who, of course, started out here on the regular tour back in the early 60s. 30 years later, I asked him about the similarities or the differences in bowling on the senior tour.
Well, there's a lot of similarities. The same bowlers are still out here. You have your Salvinos and your Semizes and Dick Weber, of course, the greatest bowler of all time. And Don Carter was there back in those days. And the competition is still here. It's a little more relaxed out here, though, and you have a little, more fun at it.
He's trying to have a great time right now. Going to run it out, and a clutch double, and he answers the challenge from Semiz.
Did you see the little hold of the hand by Teata there? I mean, that happens all the time on the senior tour. These guys root for one another, and yet, the competition, it's like they want their opponent to bowl great, but they want to beat him.
Tell you what, you put your hand out on the national tour, they'll bite it off. They'll growl at you out there on that national tour.
I heard that phrase before.
Huh? Teata says, all right, if this is going to be a strike fest, as Mike Durbin intimated, put your striking shoes on because these boys are going to hit the pocket.
Well, that's what match game play is all about. It's responding and answering what your opponent does to you and then saying, I can put it back on you.
The winner of this match will take on Gene Stus for the Ebonite PBA Senior Championship and a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Uh-oh. Left of target when it left the fingertips, and Teata Semiz will take 8 spare.
Thumb was down, speed was soft, ball was left. See, the thumb goes down right there. And the ball's left of where he wants it to be. It's about the 7th or 8th board there. Never got out right of that first arrow at all. And he's fortunate just to have the 6-10.
Cross lane spare for Teata Semiz. Now, Ron Winger, who doubled the last trip, is looking for another strike here in the 5th and a 13-pin lead.
This is the first time he's bowled on the right lane, though, with the strike up. Makes it just slightly different mentally.
Aggressive shot. And a nice result. Boy, the 6-pin, the 10 kind of went backwards that time.
And did you see him stand up and watch that? He was looking at the 10-pin or possible 8-10 all the way, and the 8 and the 10 were the last 2 out of there. Watch it. He gave it a little more room with not the heaviest of fingers, and you see the 8-10 late out, but they go.
Yep. Waving them both out.
See that reaction? He was pleased.
And could add to the lead with a strike here in the 6th. Left again on the left-hand lane.
Well, you know it's hooking more. You know you got to throw it to the right. And it's just hard making yourself do it under pressure. Now he's got a difficult spare in the 3-10. Only difficult in the sense of the pressure of the moment. He needs to keep making these things to stay in the lead. For a professional bowler, it isn't an extremely difficult shot, but the pressure of the moment makes it more difficult.
Stays with the same piece of equipment. Hard and trying to slot it in between, and he takes the 3-pin out. So an open for Winger.
And we'll also listen to the animated one from Chicago. Carmen Salvino reminisce about his win in this tournament.
Well, I'll tell you, it was really an exciting tournament for me because just coming off the national tour, everybody picked me to win it, and I kind of had a monkey on my back. It was the first tournament I was bowling in the seniors, and I just turned 50, and everybody said, well, you're the shoe-in and all that. Well, they don't realize what pressure they're putting on you, and I'm telling you, I was so nervous that when I won it, my wife came up to me and said, congratulations, and I looked at her like, who the heck are you? And Jenny said to me when we got home, don't you realize how nervous you were? I said, I didn't feel that bad, but I must have been.
Bud Dry is one beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste. So why not come around to something refreshingly different? Try Bud Dry.
Jeff Abbott just got his first paycheck. And his first lesson in gross and net pay.
Who's the fight guy? And who said he could take my money? You owe him 10.
I guess an allowance would be kind of an insult now, huh? Good thing Jeff knows where to get a break at lunch. McDonald's. For a regular hamburger, 59 cents. A cheeseburger, 69 cents. And fast, friendly service guaranteed. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Will you get paid every week?
Red Devil Enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil Enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
While we were away, a 2-pin and a spare in the 6th for Semiz, a strike in the 7th. The match is even, and Winger is now in the 7th frame. Tried to feed it in there and was lucky that he didn't leave the big 4.
This is Teata's strike in the 7th frame on the left lane. Longer follow through. The ball goes slightly longer. Watch the 9-pin. Just goes down. What was it hit it there? The 3?
Yep. I think the butt of the 3. Yeah. The bottom of the 3.
Bottom of the 3.
Teata was thankful anything hit it. Pressure mounting in this one, folks. This is the biggest tournament of the year for the seniors. The winner collects a check for $20,000 and also gets an opportunity to play against the touring pros in the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
And these last 3 frames are the biggest 3 frames of Ron Winger's life right now.
Bill Johnson, as we mentioned, had 300. Ron Winger at 299, and Roger Workman had a 298 this week.
Ronnie was at the top of the heap all week long. Led the qualifying round and could have led the tournament.
Matter of fact, he was never lower than 4th this week. Gene Stus was never lower than 3rd, so they occupied those top positions from start to finish. Trying to get back on the strike track, makes a nice adjustment, and trusted that one on 47.
See, it's all in his mind. I mean, mind over matter, making yourself do what you know you should do.
Teata Semiz could realistically shoot 246 if he would strike out now from the 8th.
See Winger bellying it from board 14 out to 10.5. 3.5 board belly. Looks like more than that from the angle we have.
Teata rolls it up, needs to hold pocket and doesn't, and can't trip out the 4-pin.
That was a quick reaction. That the wet dry type thing where he got it to the dry part of the lane and it's grabbed immediately. Six to 4.5. And his speed is 17.5. He's going to throw it there, then he's got to throw it harder.
Spare up, but now the advantage to Winger. Teata kind of shuffles off. He's already in Buffalo, so he can't go any further there.
But right now we're an even match. 2 frames to go. Count extremely important. It's who can perform under the pressure and win this match.
You've already said that today.
Well, it's being redundant, but it's happening again.
It's always what happens out here. Gave it the room on one knee, which normally means for Teata a very good shot.
See how Ronnie responds to this right lane that is tighter to begin with, but he went high the last time. Teata just a super shot on this left lane. Flush in the 1-3 pocket. Ball finishes right over the 8-pin. This is for the lead.
Gave it some room.
Oh, pretty shot. That's 10. Couple strikes in the 10th frame. He's moving on. 1, and he puts enormous pressure on Semiz. Ronnie thinking it over.
Went for a little grip cream.
Well, he uses that thing every shot. He goes back and touches his thumb and fingers. 10 pins ahead. Big, big shot for him right here.
Looked like he hung up in the shot, or did he squeeze it?
But he squeezed it.
Yeah, left for the 6th pin.
Just could not make himself trust it like he wanted, but he got a great break in getting 9. Makes the spare, strikes. Semiz is still under the gun. He's behind, no matter what, unless Ronnie would miss this.
Pretty solid performance, all told, until that shot right there when the pressure just was a little too much, perhaps.
Well, it's the first time he's been in that situation. He's really conducted himself extremely well, but this shot is very important, too. A strike makes Semiz get 2 in the 10th to win.
Solid 4.
Well, 2:14 finish. Teata needs strike, 9 spare.
Teata Semiz in this position so many times before, and he has performed so well through the years, but each and every time it probably gets more difficult.
Watch the speed.
Gave it room. Oh, and he dices up the rack. The 7-pin stood, but it's in the channel.
Wow. Did you watch the follow-through on that? He trusted that ball so well. Trusted it comes in light. Will the ball do the action? Yes, and the pins just fight to get down. 9 in the spare. Tie is possible. Anything's possible.
To try and lock it up a little more direct. And Teata now must convert the 10-pin.
That's how important that fill ball was to Winger. If he strikes on the fill ball, Teata needs to make this for a tie. Now he needs to make this for a win by
Teata
1 pin.
Looks over at the board and knows exactly where he stands. Just where that 10-pin stands. If he makes it, he moves on. If not, we've got to roll on. Dumped it into the lane and uses all of it. Semiz thrusting his hand into the air, and Teata hangs on in a thrilling semifinal match. And for Ron Winger, nothing but disappointment and $7,000.
He conducted himself very well, though. I thought he bowled it extremely well. Uses all 60 feet, as you say, to get that 10-pin.
Teata on to the title match, and Dick Weber remembers when he won this tournament a few years ago in Canton, Ohio.
But Denny, the win really ranks high in my career, because when you become a senior, you know your career is starting to end a little bit. But this tournament here is more or less a granddaddy of them all in our senior tour, and of course winning 4 All-Stars and other titles in the PBA. This really ranks high, and beating Billy Walden at the time really helps me out. And of course I beat some other guys too, but this really ranks high.
choose to go all out, because you mean you got a stink. Now if you're wearing this, and here comes your chance to prove it. And you will, because Old Spice works. Man, does it work. It fights wetness, kills bacteria. The proof?
Hey, hotshot.
You're looking at her.
Old Spice Antiperspirant for great odor protection. You demand proof, not promises.
I'm a big man.
Why do so many men stick with Bic?
I'm a big man.
Because there's a Bic for every beard. Bic Regular, a great shave at a great price.
I'm a big man.
Bic Sensitive, Bic Baby's tender skin. Bic Metal, slim head, total control.
Yeah, I'm a big man.
I'm a big man.
Regular, sensitive, metal.
I'm a big man.
In pilot jargon, it's called a walk-around. You see them do it before every takeoff of every plane. What you don't see are their qualifications to fly those planes. It takes them years and thousands of hours of experience, and every year they're schooled and tested. No exceptions. Because when you're a United pilot, you hold a lot more in your hands than just the controls. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Championship Frame is brought to you by Midas. For mufflers, brakes, and shocks, nobody beats Midas. Nobody. Let's pick up the action now in game number 1. This was a second frame strike, or make that a 10th frame strike.
Right, the second ball of the 10th then. He needed to strike on this ball to give himself the lead. Sent it a little short, turned it a little early, but got the trip 4 action, put him in the lead. Eventually won the match over Jack Calhoun. You see his reaction?
Final there, 204 to 194, and a good opening match for two players who had yet to be in the championship round. Then it was on to game number 2, 9th frame, and this time it was Teata.
And Teata handily won this match. This is just one of his strikes in the 9th frame when it put himself. See that follow through? Boy, he's trusting the ball just pretty. Ball just roars back into the 1-3 pocket. And he knows how to trip the 4 also. Now, Billy Hardwick and Pete Tensas.
And it was a 21-pin victory for Teata Semiz in game number 2, 220 to 199 as Sanford struck out from the 9th frame. Then on to the last game, and everybody has to make the 10-pin sooner or later. But when you've got this kind of pressure, it makes it that much more difficult.
Well, a lot riding on this. He left it. If he makes it, he moves on for the championship match. If he misses it, we got a roll-off. He used all 60 feet, but he covered it.
Eyes of an eagle. Teata says, yes, I'm in the championship match. 215, 214. When we come back, the S&S boys, Stus and Semiz, both have won this tournament. Gene's trying to make it 2 in a row.
When a muffler goes, some people look for a cheap replacement. They think it costs less. Fact is, they can get a quality Midas muffler starting at $24.95. Fact is, a guaranteed economizer muffler starting at $24.95. Fact is, installed by experts starting at $24.95. So when somebody says they have a cheaper muffler than Midas, they're right. When they say they're better, fact is, they're wrong. Don't believe anybody ever beats Midas.
What makes Hardee's biscuits different from everyone else's?
We do our biscuits from scratch.
Bakers.
This is a scratch buttermilk biscuit. They're baked minutes before you order it. I like to do it gently, yeah. You get a nice, smooth cut.
We do this so they all come out perfect.
Perfect biscuit. And it makes you feel good.
Rise and shine made from scratch biscuits and biscuit bakers. Only Hardee's.
What started in hell
That it came out of this.
will end on Earth. Cinema Fantastique says it's the ultimate in fear. Out of the way. Clive Barker presents Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Rated R. Starts Friday, September 11th.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change for the better? Refreshingly different, but dry.
Gene Stus moves back into the picture. He and Teata Semiz will shoot for $20,000, PBA Senior title, and, of course, a trip to the Firestone.
And, you know, when I talked to Gene in the interview, he said he was going to finish first, but now he's chosen to start the match first.
And look at this hook. Gets inside, finds the oil, slaps out the 10. A strike for Stus.
Two different approaches. Gene hooks the ball a lot more than Teata does. Teata's going at it from the outside, Stus from the inside.
Pretty much parity for Teata in terms of strikes and spares. Teata trying to open up likewise. Uh-oh, he's out there on the twig. Slaps out a 10-pin. Did he miss, or was he heading in that direction?
Was that an area check or what? We watch it. See the follow through go left? He didn't throw that one quite as well. The lane brought this back. Not really his fingers. Comes in light. Gets the love tap from the 6 on the 10.
Ought to give the ball some credit, too.
Yeah, well, it has to ultimately do it.
The striking sphere. Teata, eyes riveted to the target, wants to open quickly with a double, and it's not to be.
Ironic. Much better shot than the one in the first frame, but this one leaves the 10, and the other one struck.
That's why you have less hair now than when you started bowling.
No, you can't talk about my hair. I mean, I need a haircut. Our producer's already told me I need a haircut. So.
We'll get one before we start again in the fall. You have until the first week of the fall.
Well, I'll get it next Saturday.
Right. But then it'll all grow back by the time the fall tour starts.
Well, maybe I'll have to go 2 of them before the fall.
Yeah. Or why don't you go for the tomahawk or the butch cut?
No thanks.
Okay. Gene Stus on a strike to take an early 10-pin lead. Ooh, stood up on that shot and didn't get away with it.
Did you see the follow-through, too? Then dead left. He tried to steer that one back in, and he carries that hit a lot. Comes in light and carries that wall shot a lot. This time, didn't get it.
Gene Stus is a big, powerful athlete. He's able to get away with that shot.
Yeah. Many times he is. Not that time.
Stayed with that one.
Now watch him. Watch him come up and watch the arm. See the elbow breakout? That's what they call the old chicken wing stand-up shot.
What better city to throw a chicken wing shot than Cheektowaga, which is Buffalo?
Yeah, famous for their chicken wings. Right. Yeah.
I think Weber was the initial chicken wing specialist here. He should have opened up a franchise, perhaps.
Well, he got one of our super senior checks this week.
That's what I heard. Key shot for Stus. We were just mentioning the great one, Dick Weber, tongue-in-cheek, but oh, look at this. Decades of titles. He's the only one with 5.
Yep, that's fantastic accomplishment.
Michael, you're slowing down. You did it in 3, but...
Wait, when you're not bowling, it's hard to win.
Oh, Teata rolls one up. Haven't seen this from him. He's got the 4-9 staring him in the face.
I think Teata's going to give this a shot and show us a little shot right here. It's just a smooth stroke. He's gone from solid 10 now to solid 4-9 on 2 well-executed shots.
Just too much oil.
Watch it come in just a little bit tight. The 2-pin goes around the 4. The ball chops the 5 off the 9, and nothing really got close to either one of those pins when you looked at it from that angle.
In order to convert that 4-9, you almost had to try and back it up, throw the ball at the 7-pin, and let it back up. There's so much more oil.
Yeah, going cross lane, there's a lot of it.
Stus by 13. He's on a strike. Teata trying to climb back into the match. And gets a nice break with a light hit on lane 47. And the president of Convo Corporation. They have, I think, 8 bowling centers in this area, and quite a few more than that. I think 22 total.
Terry Dobbin.
Yep, nice to have Terry on hand. Much better shot. But he's inside.
He still hurried on the right lane. He's not his normal smooth stroke. He stood up on that one a little bit, quick with the follow-through, got it to the pocket, but didn't get the carry. Well, he shot that pretty much from the right. That was an interesting way to shoot that 10-pin. Straighten that ball right out and went right at it.
For a moment, I was wondering if he knew he had the 10-pin up as opposed to the 3-pin.
He thought maybe still shooting the 5-pin, huh?
Teata immersed in concentration, trying to focus on winning the Ebonite PBA Senior Championship. He has his hands full, though, because the tour's top player, Gene Stus, throws a solid strike on 47.
And his follow-through is just straight up every time on this left lane. It's the right lane that he's chosen to finish on. A little bit tighter. Teata needs to strike here to get himself back in this match.
He's working on a strike. And X here cuts it back to just a 3-10 lead. Better shot. This time it doesn't hold pocket. The 9-pin turned around 360 and will not fall.
Oh, man. 2 4-9s back-to-back. Mentally, that has to just drain you. Just has to go with more speed, a little more reach to get that ball down the lane a little further. We see the pin come off, and he's hoping just to get it out of there.
Throw it at the 7. Still didn't make any difference.
He
That's
did,
like a moat out there.
Couldn't get it across. And 2 pocket splits. He hasn't missed the pocket this game. He's got 75 in the 5th.
Down by 25, but certainly not out if he gets something started right here. What do you do on the right-hand lane then?
He's got to extend just a little bit more. Just a little longer reach to make that ball go another 6 inches down the lane.
6 inches, and he's on a big run. Tries to fight back, looks for the light hit, pins scatter, but the 4-pin stands alone.
In a sense, Dan, that may have been good that he's not striking on the left lane in this pick, because it puts a different mental picture as he's going to the right lane. He can strike over there and come back, he can get the double.
Spare up for Teata.
Stus, though, is in a position to put the hammer down with a couple of strikes here and move this lead out to 45 pins with 2 strikes.
Left the half-10 the last trip on lane 48. Oh, this time it's the solid 10.
Oh, he did that one well all the way. He wanted that so bad. He's a great match game player, and that was a key shot in this match, and he knew it. The follow-through comes up and then breaks. He's watching. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Oh, you rat.
Spoken like a true professional who probably said that 1,000,000 times in his illustrious career. Oh, Stus can only think of a double there. Would have extended it to 35, and he'd have been thinking about making those hotel and plane reservations to Fairlawn, Ohio.
Needs to keep striking on the lane that he is striking on. Can't lose this one.
Good speed. Not enough. 3, 6, 10 on 47.
See him put his hands down. See, that's the lack of concentration. So much emotion wrapped up in that 10-pin that he left over there. Rushes a little bit on the left lane. The ball goes left to target. 3, 6, 10. Not an easy spare. We saw Calhoun miss this on this lane in the first match.
By an eyelash. Stus with a spare. And we'll be back with the conclusion of the championship game from Cheektowaga, New York, in just one moment.
A reminder from Walmart. No matter who you are, no matter what you drive, there's one sure way to get more out of it. Regular oil changes with quality Haviland motor oil. When you add Haviland, you add more life to your car. And with Walmart savings every day of the year, you're not only miles ahead, you're dollars ahead, too. Saving money at Walmart. It's an idea that's really catching on. Walmart. Always the low price. Always.
Know what's wrong with the world today? No one cares about doing a good job anymore. No one cares about doing a good job anymore. Napkin? Thanks. Quick fix, slap it together.
Refill?
Thanks. Courtesy, efficiency, punctuality. Is that too much to ask? Nah.
Hot food and fast, friendly service guaranteed. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Finish, Mr. Martin?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Show me a place like that, and I'd give them all my business. Why, I'd never leave.
I'm a big man.
Why do so many men stick with Bic?
I'm a big man.
Because there's a Bic for every beard. Regular, sensitive, metal.
Yeah, I'm a big man.
I'm a big man.
With Minwax polyurethane, you can do more than admire your wood. You can live with it, too, because Minwax contains pure urethane oil to protect wood while giving it beauty you can really live with. Minwax keeps wood beautiful.
No matter which side of the abortion issue you're on, we've got news for you. It may already be decided. Why Roe versus Wade is moot. If it's important to you, you'll find it in time.
All right, while we were away here in the championship game, much has happened, but still a 25-pin lead for Gene Stus as he heads into the ninth frame.
Basically, Teata moved in aboard on the right lane, left the dinner bucket, made the spare, and struck. Well, Stus went Brooklyn and left the 6-pin. Appears a little bit lost right now.
Plenty of room. Oh, not the time for that to happen. Stus scratches his head, and all Teata can think about is let me up there on the right-hand lane.
See, Teata's been struggling the whole game, and he is in a position now, if Stus does not make this split, that Teata could strike this game out and lock him out. He's been behind the whole game by, like you say, 25 pins. You know, and anything can happen right now.
Not enough. Gene Stus with a huge open frame. Opens the door for Teata Semiz and for Teata. What must be going through his mind on the right-hand lane?
No strikes on the right lane. No doubles in this match by either player. Teata's got to have one here now.
Oh, look at this. The response of a champion, Teata Semiz.
Overcoming 2 4-9s. Pocket 7-10 in the other match. His best shot of the match, the 6 slaps the 10. He's within 1 pin now and strikes for the lead right here.
A re-rack for Teata Semiz on lane 47.
As much as anything to regroup mentally, this is his best lane.
Stood up on it, Michael. It was not his best effort. And, oh, has this one gone back and forth in the last 3 frames?
I don't know. They just wanted too much, then they didn't respond in the pressure situation. Neither bowler did. Teata, I mean, he's got to throw hard at the 4-7 and hope it bounces out. Something good happened.
Oh, to be turned away when you're that close. All Gene Stus can do is look at Teata and then stand up and say, I don't need much.
He just handed it to him. He only needs 5 pins, and he's going to have a win.
Easiest ball he will have thrown all week, right here. And probably 2 of the lowest scores we've seen all week. But that's what pressure does to great players. A strike for Stus. Back-to-back PBA Senior Championship victories. And for Teata Semiz, a shot that he'll likely never forget. Never. And it's like Gene, if you see that shot, you know, he acknowledged the applause, but it's like he didn't feel he earned it. It was given to him. Nevertheless, 20,000 this year, and a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions in store.